fans, this is TheSkulKlown.
Fans, this is TheSkulKlown here to review Jim and Andy, the Great Beyond. Now, I watched this twice, and this movie is basically a documentary of Jim Carrey, him getting ready and starting in the role of Man on the Moon. And I had reviewed Man on the Moon in this channel a long time ago, so I tried to find the review, so I put in a link in the description box. It's an old video. I was kind of fat, chunky, so if you guys see the video and you're like, oh my god, how much have you changed? Yes, I know. My channel has come a long way. Thank God for that. But, literally this movie starts with Jim Carrey getting interviewed. And Jim Carrey is basically just saying how he loves Andy Kaufman. I hope I'm saying his name right. I hate pronouncing names wrong. But he was a big fan of Andy. And I heard of Andy before a long time ago with wrestling, and I was like, who's this Andy person? So I looked him up when I was younger, and I respected the shit out of Andy so much that he did for the comedic business and the wrestling business. Most people might think Andy is shit. Fuck you. I'm saying that right now. Fuck you if you think Andy is shit. No, he's not. He is a gold mine that will never be made again. And when I watched the movie Man on the Moon, I loved it. I love that movie so much. It's bothers me that I can't find it on DVD, and it pisses me off that I don't have that on my shelf on DVDs. It really does, because that is a really, really good movie. I cannot stress that enough. If you never watched this documentary, watch Man on the Moon, then look up some history about Andy, then watch this documentary. Then you will get everything that what I'm talking about here. So Jim Carrey literally becomes Andy, physically and literally. And at first I'm all like, I think Jim Carrey lost it. I think he snapped. But but that could be true. But also I was thinking maybe Andy really went inside Jim Carrey's body, because Jim Carrey really said that he was he was being spiritual, and that's what we all have to do in this world, is be spiritual, not be following religion and a fucking book and all that shit. You need to be spiritual, and literally, Jim Carrey is awesome in this documentary of what he says, and what he says is freaking crazy, and is awesome. I'm slurring my words a bit because it's just, you need to listen to what he says in this documentary. It's freaking crazy. And how he gets prepared to be the role for Andy is also crazy, because he recorded it, and it's been around in his house for like 20 or 25 years. That is mind-boggling. And when he gets ready to be Andy, he's already telling the cast and crew, I'm not Jim, call me Andy. And he's like, oh, and someone tries to handshake him. He's like, big fan, Jim Carrey. He's like, oh, I'm not Jim, I'm Andy, but I'll make sure to tell Jim that. And it's like, okay, alright. And at first you're like, what the hell is going on? But Jim Carrey talks about his backstory and everything like that. And then when you hear about his backstory, about his family, and how he was like when he wanted to be a comedic guy, you kind of be like, you understand Jim. You understand Jim Carrey for where he's coming from and where he was at that particular part of his life. And I always thought this about Jim Carrey. The way when he makes movies is the way he feels around that time. And I was right. Even since I was a little kid, I was like, I'll bet you anything, mommy. The way he feels right now is the way he's feeling in that movie is the way he's feeling right now, you know? And I was right. When I heard that in the documentary, I was right all along. I guessed in Mask and Kick-Ass 2, because I was really questionable about the Kick-Ass 2, really. Or he probably was proud for what he did in the film, but he didn't want to condone the violence in the film, and I was just like, what the fuck, you know? Then why you took the paycheck of the movie? But that's just me. But what I really like about this story is that Jim Carrey becomes Andy. He is Andy. He literally becomes Andy. Jim is gone. Jim is gone, and Andy took over Jim Carrey's body. I believe that. I honestly, humbly agree that that is freaking true. Because at one point in the freaking documentary, Jim Carrey is talking to Andy's manager, and Andy's manager was like, well, you know how the Hollywood system works, and you know what would happen to you if you played different characters. You know the stories. Right when he said, you know the stories, Jim Carrey automatically changed into Tony, a persona that Andy made. And to be honest, Tony is a freaking dick of a character, but I can understand why Andy made that character, and I respect Andy for making that character. In a way, I think Jim Carrey went a little too far with that character, but at the same time, when you watch the Man on the Moon movie, and you watch some of the interviews with Andy being Tony, it is right on mark. It is right on cue. It is scary of how accurate is it. Like, people behind the scenes, Joe Pesci and, not Joe Pesci, I'm sorry. Freaking, these two guys, I forgot these actors, man, but they were like, what the hell? Like, and the whole cast was like, this is bizarre. It's like Andy's right here. And it wasn't just Andy's friends that were there. It was his family also. And there was this one scene that I thought was his real dad talking to his real dad. He wasn't talking to his real dad. He was talking to his movie persona dad. And that was mind-boggling too, because Jim Carrey's talking to him, the actor, as his dad basically. And he's like, too late, Dad, too late, because he's trying to like get closure of, Andy's trying to get closure for his father and everything like that, because Andy thought that his father didn't love him all that much. And he's like, well, tell me, try to understand. And he's like, too late, Dad, too late. And I'm just like, fuck. Shit was like intense in that. In the studio and stage and all that, you can feel the tension in the room. You can feel that tension. And I was just like, shit. And Jim Carrey, he smokes through this whole movie. And he says he's not a smoker. It's true. He's not. And he smokes freaking cigarettes. What the hell? He doesn't smoke at all. He's not a smoker. And yet in this one, he smokes. He's not a smoker. He's not. And I mean, he said that, so I don't have to say that 1,000 times, but he really isn't. I can't stress that enough. He really isn't. And when they talk about Andy and his backstory, it was great. I loved every moment of it. Every time they showed Andy on screen, it put a smile in my face, because I respect that man so freaking much for what he did to the wrestling business and for what he did for the comedic business. I fucking love Andy so freaking much. If I was alive when he was alive, I will automatically be friends with him. No questions asked. I know I would have been friends with Andy. Oh hell yeah, we would have been good freaking friends, me and Andy. No doubt about it. And how Jim Carrey got into this role of being Andy was a little bit disturbing and kind of scary, but the whole time I didn't believe Jim Carrey was there. I literally believed Andy was there. Every time Andy was trying to be douchey and funny and all that, what he was when he was alive, I was like, that's Andy, that's not Jim. Jim Carrey's gone. Jim Carrey is literally like, he's watching what Andy does as Andy is in his body. And when Andy becomes Tony, Tony literally tells off Jim Carrey. He's like, yeah, Jim Carrey, he lies about everything. I mean, he lies about his emotions and everything because, you know, he doesn't really show his true emotions. And then the director that's making the documentary, he tells Jim Carrey, is that true? What Tony said. Do you believe it? He's like, and Jim Carrey is like, at that time, yeah, it's true. I felt all of this. And I was just like, fuck, man. That's, and it's true because most people think it's crazy and all that, and Jim Carrey's out there like crazy. I don't think he's that. I think he's been in a level of enlightenment that's so up there that's like I believe he talked to Andy, and I believe Andy was like, hey, let me do my own movie, and I'll be the driver's seat of my movie, you can take a back seat. I totally believe that. I believe in spiritual and all that. If you don't, why? the world is spiritual also. Literally, the earth is alive. If it wasn't, we won't be alive. So it's a great thing that Jim Carrey says. This documentary is all around great. And the part where Jerry the King Lawler meets Jim Carrey is like, oh my god, what's going to happen here? And Jim Carrey / Andy goes berserk. He tells Jerry the King Lawler to fuck off. He tells him basically like, oh, you're not a man, you know, you want to fight me, you're going to fight me, let's fight right now, you know, it's like that. And I get, and Jerry the King Lawler get what Jim Carrey's trying to do, but even Jerry the King Lawler is kind of confused. I don't know if Jerry thinks that I don't know if Jerry the King Lawler thinks Jim Carrey's like, oh, he thinks he's Andy. Or, I don't know if Jerry the King Lawler thinks that, oh, Jim Carrey is Andy, you know? But in documentary, it makes it seem like Jerry the King Lawler is kind of fed up of Jim Carrey because he's trying to bother him. He throw a drink at his girlfriend, which I would be pissed about too. I mean, come on, Jim. But yes, Jim Carrey is being a dick in this documentary. One of the reasons why this documentary never came out is because Hollywood doesn't want everyone to think Jim Carrey is a dick. But no shit. We all know anybody could be a dick. Even famous celebrities can be assholes. So if a famous celebrity didn't tweet you back or talk to you when you were right in front of them, it's maybe because they don't give a fucking shit like us. You know? Fuck humans. Yeah. Basically. Literally. I'm the same way. It's like, fuck people, really. Don't get me wrong, I love hanging out with people and all that, but do you ever feel that just people, you know, it's like, oh, fuck people, you know. People understand. And that's why I love Jim Carrey for it, because he doesn't give a fuck, and he's telling the truth. That's why I love Jim Carrey. And as a kid, I was a huge fan of Jim Carrey. Huge fan of Jim Carrey. I wanted to be Jim Carrey as a fucking kid. Yes, that's how I was. I was that as a kid. I wanted to be Jim Carrey as a kid. That's how much I was a big fan. And watching this, and being a big fan of Jim Carrey, and loving him, literally, just caring for him. Every movie that he's done. I mean, I haven't seen number 23, which a lot of people said after number 23 he hasn't been doing that good of movies, or he's been hit and miss, or he has been lacking of the movie department. Which is true. After 23, he hasn't been doing a lot of movies. I haven't seen 23. A lot of people say it's shit. But a lot of people say Jim Carrey is good at drama. So maybe he could do that. And trust me, if an actor that does comedic stuff but is good at drama, you know that comedic person is going through hardship problems. I mean, Jim Carrey, we know Jim Carrey can do really good dramas. And if that's true, which it is, then that just proves of how tortured and how depressed Jim Carrey is. At the end of this documentary, he literally says, I didn't want to be back to Jim Carrey anymore. He's hiding his smile in front of the world. He's hiding his sadness. And this documentary proves that he is hiding it. And he's telling the whole world, help me. He really kind of is. He's telling the world, wake up, help me, before it's all over. That's what I got in this documentary. Jim Carrey, not professional help. He needs friends. He needs friends that could be with him right there and then. You know, he needs people like that. He doesn't need corrupt, sick, pathetic, fucking money-grubbing, has-been people that just want to be around him and suck him dry. I don't blame Jim Carrey for that. I don't blame Jim Carrey for being like, I don't want to follow the Hollywood system. Fuck the Hollywood system. Fuck all of this. I don't want to be part of Hollywood. I want to be me, but I can't be me because of Hollywood. I had to be someone else, and that's making me crazy because I don't know who I am. After he did Man on the Moon, he didn't know who he was, guys. He did not know who he was. He didn't know what he believed. He didn't know if he was. He didn't even know what he was. How is that possible? How do you forget who you were after you've done a movie? And most people are like, well, he turned crazy. No. It happens in Hollywood. It happened to Jack Nicholson. I heard that he retired, but I also heard he came back. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I did heard he did retire because he's played so many characters that's boggled his brains up. What do you think what happened to Heath Ledger as the Joker? Holy shit. He probably was so good at the Joker that he just snapped as the Joker and then committed suicide. Because maybe at the last moment of defiance, he probably was just like, I'm not being this crazy. Not in real life. And it shows, especially in this documentary, how Jim Carrey suffers and how other celebrities suffer also. And at one part of this documentary, there's a director who was like, oh, you look so depressed, so miserable. Thank God. Thank God? Fuck you, motherfucker. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. Oh, I want you to be so depressed for a year. Fuck you, you piece of fucking shit. It's called acting. Okay? I'm sorry, if I am going to have an actor be in my movie and they're depressed, I'll tell them, get that shit straightened out, right a fucking way, and do this movie. Because you know why? Because you're acting. Yes, you can use some of your real stuff in acting, but please don't be really depressed. If you want me to help you, I'll help you. You know? That's why I hate the fucking Hollywood system so fucking much. So much. Ugh. That's why I hate the Hollywood system so fucking goddamn much. You can stick the fucking middle finger. I don't give a fuck. They're the reasons why. They're all the reason why they hate fucking YouTube. And they're the reason why they talk shit about video gamers. But that's another story for another day, right? But overall, if you haven't seen this documentary, watch it. It's on Netflix. Highly recommend it. Highly, highly. If this comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, I will buy it. I will buy it. Do you hear me? I will buy it. If this gets re-released as a bonus with Man on the Moon and this with documentary in it, I will buy it too. I will buy it. $100, you got me right there. I don't care how much this documentary will be attached with the movie. I don't care. I will pay for it because I love Andy, I love Jim Carrey, and I love Man on the Moon, and I love this documentary. This documentary shows of how far an actor could go as a character and how far Hollywood can go for actors and actresses for them to do a role for a movie. And it also shows that some of these actors need help. Not professional help, you just need help. You need someone to love. They need, like, you know how there's some people that are depressed, maybe they need to smoke some marijuana, or some of them need to have like a dog, you know, to be with them, to feel happy and all that. Jim Carrey is one of those actors that probably needs something like that. And after watching the documentary, yes, he's probably is sick, but he's not as sick as everyone else probably says that he is. To be honest, I believe Jim Carrey is more enlightened than any of us right now. He is so up there enlightened with his third eye. It is amazing. You can tell right away. And some of the celebrities are like that too. Some celebrities like don't give a fuck about the Hollywood system, that are just like in interviews like, who cares? They are so enlightened that they don't give a fuck. And I love it. Because at the same time, the Hollywood system is so fucking corrupt that they don't give a fuck. Because if the Hollywood system fucked with their lives, why would they give a fuck about them? So that's just me. If you haven't watched this documentary, watch it. It's really worth the price of admission. It's an hour long. But once I watched it the second time, it breezed right through like it was nothing. Once I watched it the second time, I was like, that's it? That was longer than the first time I watched it, obviously, but, you know, sometimes that happens. Sometimes when you watch a documentary or a movie, it is shorter than what you think or longer than what you think. But that's it. Tell me what you guys think about this documentary. What do you think about how Jim Carrey is? Do you think he's not healthy? You think he's not right? Or you think he's so enlightened that he just doesn't give a fuck? He's perfect. He's the perfect the way he is, but at the same time, he needs to be happy. Because he's not happy. And Jim Carrey, if you're watching this, be happy. For us. for your fans, for the people that love you, man. Be happy. Go and find something to make you happy. Do it, as long as it's nothing illegal. Or nothing that can get you in trouble, obviously. But, and I hate to see a celebrity be depressed. Especially if a celebrity always makes us laugh. That's why I was so depressed when Robin Williams died. He made us laugh so much. And this guy was, and knowing that he was depressed and he killed himself because of depression, is like looking at this and it's like, I don't want that to happen to Jim Carrey, because it looks like he's suffering through depression too, and I don't want that for him. And I could be wrong, because I think Jim Carrey did talk about Robin Williams when he did died, and he was kind of really depressed too, because him and Robin Williams talked a lot about their emotions and depression. I think. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but maybe there is something like that in an article or something, I don't know. But if there's not, it's not. It's just things that I hear and the things I'm going to say. If it's not true, it's not. If it is, then it is. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video. And tell me what you guys think about this movie. And Jay Carrey, if you're watching this, be safe and take care.